Well, can I survive at least 10 days on Skeleton Island? I'm going to show you my adventure with the newest survival game released in early access, where some bugs and errors can happen. Along the way, I will explain what surviving Skeleton Island is all about. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. You see, I woke up on unknown sands. It was still quite dark, and in front of me stood a glowing blue skeleton. His name is Skelly, and yes, he's a skeleton, more precisely a skeleton ghost. Anyway, he asked if you want a tutorial. Your first task is to craft an axe. It seems that crafting and mining resources gives you experience. As I move to complete the task, I pick up a scroll. On the sands, you can find multiple scrolls with useful tips and info about the game. Nearly the whole beach is full of them. I'm not the biggest fan, though, because once you pick them up, they go into your inventory, and you start the game with a very limited number of slots, so I constantly had to destroy each scroll right after reading it, saving space. Back to the action. I collected the resources needed to craft the axe and a bunch of other items like coconuts, which are food and source of drinkable water. When I returned to Skelly, he provided me with experience and I could keep the axe. Well, he's just a ghost, so he wouldn't be able to use it anyway. After that, he told me to come back once I level up a few times, and then the real adventure will begin. Since there was still plenty of time left on the first day, I decided to collect nearby items ASAP. Not far away, I saw an enemy roaming at the end of the beach, but first I needed to craft more tools and a weapon before engaging in any fights. In surviving Skeleton Island, you can use tools as weapons, they just deal less damage, still it's better than nothing. Along the beach, there were a few crates, probably from my ship, or others taken by storms or magic, as I don't know how I got there. They contain stuff to collect, and obviously more stuff is always good. After that, I felt a bit more prepared, so I decided to fight a skeleton. This one is worth taking on early because he drops a useful tool, a shovel. You can use the shovel to dig up spots like graves or buried treasures. In this case, I got another needed item, bone boots. They let you run faster and provide some defense.
Nice.
I also crafted a straw hat for a small defense boost and found a pod with healthy, drinkable water. The devs clearly tried to make the start easier for new players. You will also find a crate with items and like a vase that you can fill with water and carry with you. Then day 2 began. From my experience, I knew I needed to craft a wooden chest, but to do that I first had to reach character level 3. So I spent time mining stone, copper ore and chopping trees, and with the first half of the day I did it. The chest was very welcome because I had been struggling with my limited inventory. Thankfully, it adds 10 extra slots. Afterward, I headed back to Skelly. He asked me to cook 3 pieces of meat. The only problem? I need fire and of course meat. There are few sea lions on the beach, so I hunted them. Besides meat, they also drop skin and bone, important ingredients for crafting. I finally made a fireplace near the pond I found earlier and cooked the meat, which completed the quest. Before the end of day 2, I gathered a bunch of fiber from straps, crafted rope, and used wood to build a basic shelter. It gives you the option to rest, heal while sleeping, and speed up time. On day 3, I started by collecting a potion hidden inside a giant animal skeleton. Then I met a new friend, ghost of a goblin boy named Albert. He asked me to find and defeat a group of hostile goblins occupying a nearby part of the beach, which I planned to visit anyway, so it's great. In surviving Skeleton Island, you will meet both typical creatures and more mystical or pure fantasy ones. From the game trailer, I saw a giant scorpion, though I didn't encounter it during this part of my adventure. Anyway, I knew the goblins in their camp would be tough enemies. I needed to become stronger. The beach is full of trees, rocks and ores, so there's plenty of XP to gather. And at night, enemies like skeletons respawn and chase you. With gathered materials, I crafted a few clothes and armor parts and tried to attack the goblins. Unfortunately, they were too strong, so I had to come up with another plan. I spent the whole next day grinding XP and reached level 4. That unlocked the recipe for a wooden slingshot. It uses pebbles, which you can mine or find on the beach. With skeletons chasing me at night, I made sure to be fully prepared for day 5. Then, with a new day, I ran to the goblin camp and began attacking them. I had to kite them one by one, as they are dangerous in groups. But then, I ran out of pebbles, so before re-engaging, I gathered more. I finally took them out. In the camp, I found wooden arrows and a gift Albert told me about. He later thanked me and said I could keep it. Inside was an amulet that boosted my damage. Great news! On day 6, I placed another chest because I was gathering more and more items I hoped would be useful later. I also crafted a furnace, an essential building that lets you smelt copper into bars needed for money upgrades. Without it, you can't get better gear. At the other end of the beach, I found another ghost, Leo the Carpenter. He asked for 3 planks. To make them, you need a soft workbench and some wood. Nothing too special, but it gives you XP. As day 6 ended, skeletons started chasing me again. I used my slingshot to defend myself. One after another they came, but I managed. Using bones from sea lions and skeletons, I crafted more bone armor pieces. I also returned to old Leo and fulfilled his request. It's funny how ghosts ask you for things they can't even use. Near Leo there was Arida the trader. How can a ghost be a trader? She offered a few useful items. Nothing essential, but things like repair tools that restore item durability and have 10 uses. Then came a sea lion ghost, bigger and stronger than normal sea lions. I started running and using my slingshot, but in a moment of stupidity, I accidentally hit Leo over a rock, and he started attacking me. Thankfully, I was able to talk to him again, and it somehow reset. By the end of the day 7, I was feeling strong and ready for bigger challenges. Everything was going smoothly and I was making progress. On day 8, I gathered more resources and crafted some items. I also tried to check out a big shark near the water edge, but yeah, that was a bad idea. He was angry and hungry. Finally, on day 9, I decided to go further inland to see something new. Wolves were blocking the path, but thanks to my progress, they weren't too tough. I finally saw what the world beyond the beach looked like. Here's a good time to remind you, this game is in early access and many updates are still coming. I noticed some frame drops when viewing the full forest. I tried to build an anvil for better armor receipts, but oddly enough, I needed a boar tusk, and I hadn't seen any boars nearby. I met another goblin ghost, who asked me to find his dog. While exploring deeper, I found a new trader named Dorita. She had different items in stock, mostly receipts and blueprints, but I didn't have enough money to buy anything. Through the trees I saw a bear, so I tried to avoid it. I also finally found boars. Thanks to the slingshot, I could take them down. I focused on boar hunting, not noticing that the day was ending, and that means skeletons starts waking up. One of the rock-throwing ones appeared nearby and attacked. I also met another ghost, John, who asked me to destroy a goblin camp nearby, but I decided to head back to my base. I took a shortcut through an area blocked by 2 birds, but in that moment I hesitated. You will see why that was a good decision. Back at the camp, I rested and prepared to return when the sun rose. I spotted a boar and took it down, but while gathering resources, one of the goblins spotted me and rushed in. She threw a spear that did serious damage and nearly killed me. I barely managed to finish her off. And then I did something stupid again. Instead of taking the long road back, I decided to fight bears with my slingshot. Turns out they throw weapons too, and I miscalculated. So yeah, with day 10 coming to a close, I didn't manage to survive it. Honestly, I found some really good ideas here, but at the same time the game needs more polish. Thankfully, it's not expensive, you can support it with just few dollars and even send in your ideas to improve it. One big plus is the use of low poly models without relying on the same overused assets packs you probably know. There is also a mystery, how and why you ended up on the island, and what you need to do to escape. But that's for you to discover. That was my story in surviving Skeleton Island. You can find the game link in the description. Thanks for watching, subscribe for more videos like this, and I will see you next time in another game. Bye!